Scientists claim some animals may be developing primitive language, a discovery that could fundamentally redefine how we measure intelligence across species. For decades, scientists believed complex language, with grammar, syntax, and abstract meaning, was a uniquely human trait, separating us from all other animals. However, new research suggests that certain animal species, from primates to whales to birds, may be using structured vocal sequences far more sophisticated than previously thought. Field studies and acoustic analyses reveal that some species use combinations of sounds that follow rules resembling primitive grammatical structures. This discovery challenges the long-held belief that animal communication consists only of instinctive signals, tied directly to immediate needs like danger or mating. Scientists studying prairie dogs found that their alarm calls contain combinations of sounds that identify predator species, size, speed, and even color. Similarly, researchers decoding the vocal sequences of dolphins and sperm whales found evidence of rhythmic clicks arranged into repeatable sequences. These sequences resemble what linguists call combinatorial communication, the building blocks of grammar where smaller units form larger, meaningful structures. Among primates, studies of Campbell's monkeys revealed that they combine specific calls into sequences that change meaning based on order and context. This ability to combine simple calls into more complex signals mirrors the way humans build sentences from individual words and phrases. Even some songbirds, particularly Bengal finches, rearrange distinct notes into sequences with different social or territorial meanings depending on note order. The discovery that non-human species can combine sounds into complex patterns raises profound questions about the evolutionary roots of language itself. If language-like traits exist in species separated by millions of years of evolution, it suggests the building blocks of language may be far older than humanity. This challenges the traditional view that complex language emerged suddenly and exclusively in early Homo sapiens, representing a sharp cognitive divide. Instead, language may have evolved gradually, with precursor forms appearing in many species long before full linguistic complexity developed in humans. Some scientists propose that the cognitive processes underlying language, memory, categorization, symbolic thinking, may not be uniquely human after all. If animals are capable of combining vocalizations into new meanings, they possess a form of creativity and abstraction once thought impossible outside humans. This finding forces researchers to reconsider what intelligence really means and whether language is the ultimate measure of cognitive sophistication. Traditional definitions of intelligence often prioritize tool use, problem solving, and learning, all measurable in laboratory settings. However, communication-based intelligence, the ability to convey abstract information through structured signals, may be equally important yet harder to study. The fact that animals across vastly different evolutionary branches show similar combinatorial abilities suggests a form of convergent evolution. Convergent evolution occurs when unrelated species independently develop similar adaptations to solve common ecological challenges. For social species living in complex groups, the ability to convey nuanced information about threats, food, and alliances may drive the evolution of primitive language. Whales, elephants, and primates all rely on strong social bonds, which could explain why these species show advanced communication skills. The discovery of structured communication among insects, such as honeybee waggle dances or ant pheromone trails, further blurs the line between instinct and intelligence. If even invertebrates can combine signals into complex, interpretable sequences, then the basic principles underlying language may permeate much of the animal kingdom. The question of whether these systems qualify as language depends heavily on how scientists define language itself. Most linguists reserve the term language for systems with recursive grammar, the ability to embed phrases within phrases, a hallmark of human speech. Animal communication systems discovered so far show combinatorial rules but limited evidence of recursion, raising debate over whether they qualify as true language. However, some researchers argue that calling these systems primitive language is justified, as they reveal the cognitive seeds from which human language evolved. If animals are capable of primitive language, intelligence can no longer be defined purely by tool use, abstract reasoning, or self-recognition tests. This new perspective places social intelligence, communication complexity, and cultural transmission at the center of what defines cognitive sophistication. Studying these emerging systems also offers clues about how language evolved in early hominins, before full linguistic complexity developed. Proto-language, the hypothetical precursor to modern human speech, may have resembled the structured calls scientists now document in whales and primates. This reframing of intelligence could reshape conservation efforts, emphasizing the importance of protecting species not just for biodiversity but for cultural preservation. Some scientists now believe that whales, elephants, and primates possess oral traditions, knowledge passed through generations via structured communication. This cultural intelligence, tied to communication and learning, further challenges the notion that human intelligence is an evolutionary anomaly. The discovery of primitive language systems also raises ethical questions about how humans treat species with emerging communicative complexity. If animals are capable of conveying abstract information and developing shared symbols, they may deserve moral consideration closer to that of humans. The evolving science of animal communication already influences laws protecting whales, dolphins, and primates based on their advanced cognitive and social capabilities. If scientists confirm that more species possess primitive language, these findings could reshape ethical frameworks around habitat protection, animal captivity, and scientific research. The discovery also highlights the limits of human-centric definitions of intelligence, which often fail to recognize cognitive adaptations shaped by non-human ecological challenges. A species' intelligence may not manifest in human-like problem-solving but in social negotiation, cooperative foraging, or abstract vocal communication. This shift in perspective also challenges long-standing hierarchies that rank species by intelligence, placing humans at the top. Instead, intelligence might better be understood as a spectrum of cognitive adaptations, with language-like abilities distributed more widely than previously assumed. Understanding animal language systems could eventually allow scientists to translate some vocal sequences into human-readable meanings. Projects like the Cetacean Translation Initiative, CETI, already use machine learning to decode sperm whale clicks, seeking evidence of combinatorial communication. If researchers decode animal communication, the implications for interspecies understanding, empathy, and coexistence would be profound. However, decoding communication requires understanding not just the sounds themselves, but the cultural, ecological, and emotional context shaping them. The idea that animals might have stories, warnings, and social agreements hidden in their calls forces us to reconsider their inner worlds. If intelligence includes the ability to communicate, remember, and share meaning across generations, then some animals may already qualify as intelligent civilizations. The discovery of primitive language in non-human species could ultimately redefine intelligence as the ability to generate, share, and adapt meaning across social groups. This more expansive definition recognizes that intelligence is not just what happens inside individual brains, but what species create collectively through communication. Whether or not scientists classify these systems as language, the discovery of structured animal communication forces us to question long-held assumptions about human uniqueness. The emerging science of animal communication suggests that intelligence, and even culture, may be far older, deeper, and more widespread than humans ever imagined.